Hey guys, Evacso here. I've got some legendary difficulty realistic sliders today. I've got two slider sets, one for the longer halves and one for the shorter halves. So I'll begin with the longer half sliders, so 10-minute halves you can use these sliders on. You can also use these on 8 and 9 minutes as well, halves. Difficulty level obviously legendary, and don't worry about the game speed because there's no game speed now. Into the camera settings, so I've got broadcast camera, so that's like the realistic sort of camera. That's what you see on a football game. So you go to custom camera settings, height 0, zoom 0, far side focus on 5, and ball tracking speed on 0. So I'll go into the CPU sliders first, so AI behavior on custom, tackle aggression on 35. They're very aggressive at the moment, lots of slide tackles. I got the CPU to have 3 red cards in one game, so yeah, that was before I put it down to 35, so I might be even taking this down even more, because as soon as you change the settings in sliders, for some reason the other team gets very aggressive. It's like they just get better. Even though you're putting stuff down, it's I don't know, something weird I find in this game. They get more aggressive. They go in for challenges a lot more. So I put this down to 35, build up speed at 10, so I'll probably be sticking with that all year round. Making it realistic, you don't want the CPU to be counter-attacking all the time. You know, as soon as winning the ball, playing it up to the striker, you know how it is. So I build up speed at 10, shot frequency at 45, just lower those long shots from happening. They take a lot of long shots this year. First touch pass frequency, you don't have to have this at 45, but that's just my preference. You can just keep it at 50 if you want. Crossing frequency, I've kept that at 50. And I've put the dribble frequency down to 10. They love to dribble with the ball. Like you'll see the winger and he would come all the way to where like a right centre mid, like let's say a left winger, he would run all the way to like where a right centre mid should be. It's weird. And then he might start coming back, and they love dribbling backwards too. If you put some pressure on them, they just start running backwards. Not passing it, they just keep running backwards. So I don't know why that is. That still sort of happens with 10 dribble frequency. But I'm hoping that gets out of the game, just with EA changing hopefully their settings in the game. Hopefully they get rid of that. It might be a thing that happens all year round. It will be very annoying. And the skill move frequency, I haven't really seen many skill moves anyway, but I've kept it at 50. So into the simulation settings, it's going to be weird to say, custom the game type. Make sure you don't flick these when you put the sliders in, because it will reset everything. So make sure you don't do that. So I made a few changes with the sprint speed and acceleration. So I have the sprint speed at 45 for both user and CPU, and the acceleration for 50 for both user and CPU. I'll put the acceleration up because a bit too slow off the mark obviously, and I might be lowering these sprint speeds. I tried the acceleration above 50 and it seems to be a very big difference between 50 and 51. So I'll be probably keeping that at 50. Not sure about the sprint speed, and obviously if you find these sliders a little bit too easy, you can put the CPU acceleration up by 1, so to 51, but you will notice a little bit big difference kind of. It's a bit weird why it changes 50 to 51 with a big change. Shot error, bit of a change between user and CPU. So shot error at 60 for user and shot error at 64 for CPU. Their shooting and passing is a lot better than the users. So make sure you watch out for that. And I've got increased line height. So obviously you want that pass error to be a lot higher, because the CPU will be finding those passes and, well, be able to score a lot of counter-attacking goals. So pass error at 55. Pass error at 64 for CPU, so an extra 9, that is a lot. Shot speed at 49 for user, shot speed at 48 for CPU, so again that's just because shooting and passing is a lot better for the CPU. Pass speed at 44 for user and pass speed at 40, again because passing and shooting is a lot better for the CPU, sorry. Injury frequency at 60 for user and CPU, injury severity at 30 for user and CPU. Goal capability, I have not changed that just as yet, because I think the shot speed isn't really needing to be affected too much this year. Like I have got it, it's like 1 or 2 less, that's about it. If you lower it any more, you're not going to be scoring from outside the box, which I haven't even this year. I've played about 50 games already with like sliders and stuff, and I have not scored from outside the box. but you're very clinical inside the box. So, like, if I increase the shot speed and start scoring from outside the box, you're never going to be missing shots inside the box. So you're going to be scoring them all the time inside the box. So I don't know how to balance that at the moment. So I'm just keeping the goal capability at 50 for user and CPU, and hopefully they just change a few things with the shot speed. Marking at 72 for user and marking at 68 for CPU. So obviously if you're scoring a couple too many goals, it'd be a good one to put this up to 70. And obviously if you're got a very good defensive line, especially if you've got quick centre backs, because the line height's up, you want your marking to be up high too. So, but if you have quick centre backs, you won't need to worry too much about this, and you can put this down to 70. And I've got the run frequency at 47 for user, run frequency at 41 for CPU, so a very big difference. Like in all these legendary sliders, I'm having the user having a bit of an advantage in most of these things, just because legendary difficulty is a lot harder than the world class difficulty. So they just weren't making runs before until I put this up to 47 for users. But for CPU, it seems like they still make runs at 41. I don't know, it's like the user and CPU don't run on the same sort of sliding set. So that's why there's also big differences, because the shooting and passing is better for the CPU. Why is that happening? So I don't usually have differences in line height. So I got line height for user is at 75, just because your players literally run into your box as soon as the other team has the ball. Like, they just drop back completely all the way to the goalkeeper. It's awful. But if you increase this anymore, they'll be too high when you lose the ball, and you know, before they drop back, so they'll already be too high, and those sort of through balls happen a lot. So I haven't put this up any higher, because then you'll be conceding too many goals from through balls coming through the centre backs. But any lower, they're too far into the box, and the CPU will already be in the box before they even get to the centre backs, if you know what I mean. And they'll be scoring all the time as soon as they get in the box, because it's very clinical in the box because of the shot speed. But line height is at 70 for CPU, just so, well, it seems very balanced for some reason. At 75 for user and 70 is very balanced for CPUs, if you know what I mean. Like, it seems like they don't run on the same slider set. It's weird. Line length at 27 for users, obviously just to defend a lot better for users, help give them that advantage. Line length is at 32 for CPUs, just so you can just make any chances really. If you have this any lower than 30, you're going to struggle, that's for sure, unless you've got really good midfielders. Line width is at 49 for users, also on CPU. I haven't changed this too much yet. Like, I have not put this down any lower than 49 just as yet, just because the wingers stay very centrally. They don't seem to stay on the sideline yet. But if you put this any higher, those through balls through your centre backs will be the death of you. Fullback positioning at 75 for user and CPU. Fullbacks just don't go up the line that much. Even with like attacking fullbacks, if you've got your wing backs, they still don't make enough runs. So I've put this up to 75. That's very high, but it's at least they make some runs now at 75. Don't know why that's happening. Power bar, I've had this at 52, just my preference. You can have this up to 55. It will definitely help you with these sliders. If you're struggling just a little bit, you can put this up to 55. Trust me, it will help you a lot. First touch control error is at 60 for user and CPU. I'm pretty happy with the first touch control error. Anyways, that's for the longer half sliders. So make sure you comment down once you test these sliders. I do want to hear your preferences on everything. If it's too easy, too hard, too many goals, or something just in the gameplay, anything in general. Anyways, let's get into the shorter games. So for the shorter games, I've been using these sliders on 5-minute halves. You can also use these on 4-minute halves, 6-minute halves, and 7-minute halves. These two slider sets will hold 4 minutes all the way to 10-minute halves. So I've kept it at 5-minute halves. Difficulty level, obviously legendary. No game speed again. Camera settings at broadcast, custom. So the same camera settings, height 0, zoom 0, far side focus on 5, and ball tracking speed on 0. Into the CPU sliders, so same tackle aggression, same build up speed, same shot frequency. I think these are all the same besides dribble frequency. I've had this a little bit higher than I got them for the longer halves, only because you want more chances to happen in shorter games. So I've just kept that up a little bit higher. Into the simulation settings, so same sprint speed and acceleration, all at 45 for sprint speed and all at 50 for acceleration. Shot error at 58 for user, same for shot error for CPU, 58, just because you want to be converting those shots a little bit more often in shorter games. Pass error at 54 for user, and I've actually kept the pass error very high at 63, even in short game sliders, just because the shorter games, they're going to create more chances, which means they're going to be making those through balls happen a lot more, and you just don't want to be lowering this pass error, or you're going to be punished so many times. So just keep it at least at 60. If you have a good defense, you can put this down to 60, but don't go any lower than 60. Shot speed at 49, and I got this shot speed also at 49 for CPU. Just again, you want to convert those chances, score those goals. Pass speed at 45 for user, and pass speed at 41 for CPU. Injury frequency at 60 for both user and CPU. Injury severity, same for user and CPU at 30. Goal capability also on 50 for user and CPU. Marking on 68 for user, and then we've got the marking at 58 for CPU, which is 10 less. You're not really going to make any chances if you put these marking any higher than 60 for CPU. You're just not going to make many chances, so that's why it's a 10 difference. Unless you're playing with a really top team, that's the only reason you would put this up to 60. That's just what it is for the moment. Run frequency at 55 for user. I never put this higher than 50, but they just don't make enough runs this year, so that's why it's really close to like 50. And I'm guessing the short game sliders, probably for all difficulties, probably going to be over 50. It just never has happened in the past. Run frequency is at 45 for CPU, so it's a good like default sort of thing for short games. Line height at 80. It just seems to be getting higher and higher. So line height at 80 for both user and CPU. So in the short game sliders, you do want through balls to be happening a lot, because without those, the attacks aren't going to be quick enough to make enough chances in a short game sort of period. Line length at 35 for both user and CPU. Line width at 50 for user and CPU. So I've just increased that by 1 just because of the short games. And fullback position, I had this at 70 for user and CPU. Like obviously they're going to be making lots of chances, but if you put this up any higher, you're probably going to be converting too many chances anyway. Power bar at 52. First touch control error is at 55 for user and CPU. So I've just lowered this down by 5 for the short games. So that's my 2 slider sets for legendary difficulty. So again, comment down once you tested these sliders, even if it's like they're like all good. I would like to know if they're all good. Obviously, if there's any problems, please comment down. Anyways, please like and subscribe. And I'm going to be doing a lot more of these sliders, so please do subscribe. And I'll catch you guys later.